Hey everyone, this is Christopher Solomon from Board Game Breakdown. I'm back with another how to play video, this time looking at Abyss. So this came out in 2014. One of the designers is Bruno Cataglia, and honestly for me it's kind of flown under the radar. I've seen the awesome artwork on the front, but it's always struck me as maybe something that I wouldn't like. It looks like maybe a dungeon crawler type game or a dudes on a map game. So I've just never even looked into it. And a friend at work, shout out to Jennifer, came to me and knows I like board games and said, hey, we have a friend who has this game called Abyss. Have you ever heard of it? I said, I think so, but I don't really know anything about it. They let me borrow it, and it's been a huge hit in our house. I really enjoyed it. My wife looked at this nice guy on the cover here and thought, holy moly, what are you getting me into? But we started playing it and she loved it. So we've had a lot of fun with it. It's easy to set up. You can knock out a two-player game in 40 minutes, typically, maybe less if you know what you're doing. It's a set collection, hand management type game where you're betting on these little ally cards and you're trying to recruit these lords. Artwork's fantastic. It's just, it's really a nice little surprise. I've never really read or heard too much about it, and I've really loved it. So we'll do a quick setup and an overview of a turn, and then I'll actually do a couple rounds of a three-player game and let you see how it works and some of the different mechanics. So before we go further, I'd just like to remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can make sure to stay up to date on any new content we have out. You can go to our website, boardgamebreakdown.com. We have written reviews. We have one up of Abyss. There we like to talk a little bit more about exactly what we like, what we don't like about the game, and we leave the how-to advice for these YouTube videos. We're also an Amazon affiliate partner, so if you see anything on the website that you like, that you want to pick up, you feel like you want to order it from Amazon, use one of our links on there. It won't cost you anything extra. You'll get the same Amazon service, but it does help give us a tiny commission to keep creating content. Lastly, you can check us out on Instagram at board.game.breakdown and leave us any comments and just chat with us, let us know what you think. So without further ado, it is time to dive into Abyss. All right, so we're going to set up the game, and thankfully setup is pretty easy, so we won't take too long on this. You'll see that I have the board out here already. Just to quickly go over what's going on here on the board is this top portion is going to be for your allies. This colored section is where we're going to put the races of each ally. This is called the council. And down here you have where your lords are going to go. So you put the board out first. You're going to take your ally deck or your exploration deck right here. And I'll show you, like, that's a jellyfish ally. Here's I think that's a shellfish. So you just shuffle them up. I've already done that. Place them up there. You're also going to take your Lord deck here. I've already shuffled it up. And you're going to put 7 out to start. So those go like that. You also want to place this sideboard out here. This is the monster tracker. You'll have this red token that you'll put on level 1 here. That's going to keep track of where you're at on the monster tracker. You have these monster tokens that you'll just stack up, put them out here where everyone can reach them. You also have keys here that people will be grabbing throughout the game. So you place them in a stack. You have your locations, which are these wide cardboard pieces over here. You'll shuffle them up, and then you're going to start with 1 drawn. So give you a glimpse here of the location. So it's the coral barrier. It's just another way to get points. So you're going to start with 1 location being, I guess, viewable, and the rest are going to stay hidden like that. And then you're going to take all of your pearls and form a little treasury. And then each person starts with one. So everyone gets these little cups. So I'm setting this up as if it is a 3-player game. So we got 3 pearls out like that. And that is basically it for the setup. So while I did already have the cards shuffled, that was only about 4 minutes, real quick, to put it out so you can see how quick this game is able to be set up and played. And even if you would like to play numerous games in a row, it's very quick to knock that out. So we'll move into the gameplay section next. And I'm going to go over kind of an overview of the rules and how a turn works. And then I'll play through a couple turns as if we had a game of 3 people and go through each of the turns, what you might do. So a turn is broken into 3 different phases. The first phase is optional. So the first phase is called plot at court. So what that's going to eventually mean is these lords down here, people are going to be buying them. And when I get to that part, we'll talk about how you know how to purchase them. But eventually these are going to start going away. And they don't automatically get refilled. So you might get down to only a few lords. And that first optional thing you can do, plot at court, is you can spend a pearl to fill up one of these spots. So it's just a way to spend your pearls in order to keep the Lord section full, to give you more variety to buy. Again, that's optional. You probably won't do that at the very beginning of the game. Well, definitely not on the first turn, but probably it will be a few rounds before you need to worry about that. The second thing is you have to take one of these following actions. And you have to do one of these. So you cannot skip this phase. You're going to have to take an action. The first action is called Explore the Depths. So I'm going to show you how that would work. If I'm the active player, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to flip over the first card. It shows you which race it is. So this is a squid. You know that by this icon in the top left corner. It matches one of these races in the council. And then it has a number here, which is a 1. They range from 1 to 5. There's a couple of 1s for each race. There's only 1 5, so they become less. There's less cards the higher ranking it is. So once I flip that, I'm now going to give everyone else an option to buy that. If someone would like to purchase that, it's 1 pearl that they pay to the active player, and they would take this card. If nobody wants it, then I have the option to take it for free. If I don't want it, then I'm going to continue and flip the next one over. Again, I offer that card to everyone else. Let's pretend someone buys that and gives me 1 pearl. I'm going to flip another card. I'm going to ask everyone, would you like that? Now, the person who bought the seahorse is not allowed to purchase anything else the rest of this round. They're only going to buy 1 card a turn. Nobody wants that. Let's go to the next card. All right, say my other opponent, who can still buy, wants that seahorse that has 4 on it. Because he is the second opponent buying a card, he would have to spend 2 pearls, give them to me, and then he could buy this. Eventually, I might keep going and find out there's nothing that I wanted. Once you land on this last space, the active player must then take this last one. So they have to put this into their hand. And they also get a pearl. And that's a little reminder on the board that if you waited that long, then you're going to take that card and that pearl. Once that is done, you're going to take all the cards that are left that were not purchased. You're going to stack them by race. So we have 2 seahorses. They're going to go here. And you have 2 squids. And they're then going to go there. It would now be the next person's turn. So you see that we're building up some face down cards for each race in this council. So that brings us to our second option. Instead of exploring the depths, you might want to choose request support from the council. What that means is you are going to select one of these piles. You're going to take the whole pile and you're going to just put it into your hand. And that would conclude your turn. The last thing you can do is recruit a lord. So that is the action you're going to take to purchase these lords down here. So how do we purchase them? So I'm going to use the shipmaster here as an example, and I'll put it here, but I'll also blow up a copy on the screen so you can see it better. But there's a couple things to note. In the top left, there's a 5. That is how many influence points he will get you at the end of the game. Influence points are basically your victory points. You're going to score those from a multitude of areas. You're going to score them from the lords. You're going to score them from the locations. You're going to also score them from some of the allies, but I'll get into that more as we actually play the game because it's a little confusing until you see it. And there are also victory or influence points on the backs of these monsters, which we'll also discuss in a second. Down here, you'll see some bubbles. So these are very important. The shipmaster has 3 bubbles, 2 of them being gray, 1 of them being a large green bubble. What that means is you have to use 3 different races of allies to recruit the shipmaster. One of them has to be green. So if you were to play your allies, you would have to have at least 1 green card, but you could have more than 1 green card. And then you would have to have 2 other types of cards, maybe a blue card for a squid and a yellow card for a seahorse. And lastly, there's a number right here. So for the shipmaster, it's 6. So of those 3 races, they would have to add up to at least 6 or more. If you could play all those cards, then you can pick up the shipmaster. He would go in front of you, and we would look at his power. Each of them has a special, well, I shouldn't say each of them, because the seahorses just get you a lot of points. They don't actually have a power that gets triggered. But some of them have powers that have an arrow on them. That gets triggered right away one time, and then it's finished. Some of them, like the shipmaster, do not have an arrow, and they give you a power that is ongoing until you use them to control a location, which is the third option you can do at the end of a turn, which we'll talk about in just a second. The last thing to note is he has a key icon. Some of them do not have keys. If he has a key, then you gain 1 key when you get the Lord. All right, so the last thing, once you've chosen your action out of those 3, and then you've completed that, if you gained 3 keys, or if you gained 1 key and it is now your 3rd key, then you have to take a location. So you have 2 options. You can take one of the ones that are viewable, so in this case, the coral barrier, or you can choose 2, 3, or 4 of these locations, so let's just pretend I chose 3, I would flip them over, I would look at them and say, I want Parliament. I would put that in my area. These 2 now become viewable as options for your opponents. So basically, if you choose to do that and choose to get your own and not just take the one that's viewable, you're making a wider pool for your opponents to pick from. At this point, you would take your 3 lords that have the 3 keys on them, and you would sit them underneath this location. That would cause their powers, such as the shipmaster, to stop working. So you basically use these ongoing powers until you use that lord to control a location, and at that point the lord is no longer using their powers. Once that is complete, the next active player goes, and again, remember that the order is they can plot a court, meaning they can pay a pearl or more to refill the lords. They then have to choose either explore the depths, take a stack from the council, or recruit a lord. And then if it was their 3rd key, they then have to control a location. Now, one last thing to show you before we play is there are monster cards. There are 6 of them in this Explore the Depths deck. Here's one. So if that were to come out when you're exploring the depth, the active player has a choice. They can either fight the monster, which doesn't really entail fighting, it just means you beat the monster and you gain whatever the reward is over here next to where the tracker is. So if I had a monster and it was on space 1, I could get either a pearl or I could get a monster token, which, like I said, has points on the back. So how do we move this down? If I don't want to fight the monster, I can basically skip that and continue on my turn, and that moves the tracker down a space. So what does that do? Well, maybe I'm betting that I'll get another monster to pop out, and then I can fight him and win one of these. But you're also giving your opponent a chance, if the monster comes out, for them to get this, if you don't get a monster before they do. There's only 6 monsters in that whole deck, so they're a little rare, but you are playing a little bit of a push your luck game here to see if you can score a monster and get one of these better benefits before your opponents do. The last thing to really touch on quickly is you'll see when you take a lord, let's say someone bought this one, there's arrows right here. It means you move them down. Again, unless someone pays a pearl at the beginning of their turn, you're not going to refill this. Eventually, these are going to get down to something like that, and then one might get bought. And you'll see when you move it here that it is unveiled this. This is a reminder for whoever bought that lord, that last lord that caused it to be 2 left. They're going to get 2 pearls, and then they're going to refill the whole thing. So at that point, you're not having to pay pearls. The game has a way to trigger that so that the lords are replaced. Each lord is part of a different guild. As we play through the rounds, I'll kind of talk about them more, but each color kind of focuses on one thing that it's giving you power to do, or something that helps you. So that's kind of a nice touch that the lords are separated in different variations like that. So that's it for the overview. So We'll pause for a quick second and I'll reshuffle up the lords and I'll reshuffle up the locations and the allies, and then we'll come back and we'll play a couple rounds as if we had 3 people so you can see how the game actually plays. Alright, so I reshuffled everything up. We'll play a quick few rounds. I'm only going to have the hand of this player down here available for you to see. There's not a ton of space, so I'll just have cards over on the other 2 player sides. But this will be the player that we pay attention to. So this player will go first. Obviously, at the beginning, we need to explore the depths. So we'll flip over the first card. We have a squid for 4, so I'm going to offer that up to my opponents in a clockwise fashion. So this player in this area over here would get first dibs. Remember, everyone has started with 1 pearl. And this first player, it would cost them a pearl to buy it. Now, what tells you what you want to buy? Well, here at the beginning, it's kind of wide open. You see that this squid needs 10, and he only needs squids. So 4 would be pretty handy for him. There's a couple of red. I think those are crabs. So we'll say this guy doesn't want to spend his 4. This person, or spend his 1 pearl. This person doesn't feel like spending his pearl. And I, though, because I can get it for free because I'm the active player, I do want this. So I'm going to place it here. That would be my hand. Typically, you would have that hidden so no one could see it, but I'll put it out there so y'all can see it. All right, so then we move clockwise over to this player. He, too, would like to explore the depths, and he scores a monster first. So he looks up here. We're on the first tracker. He can get a pearl or he can get that. Now, pearls are kind of rare at the moment, so he's going to go ahead and grab a pearl because he wants to be able to have options in buying things. So this monster, that's the end of his turn. If he fights a monster, it's going to go into just a discard pile. Now we have our third player. So he's got a jellyfish with 2. Nobody wants to buy it. Now he gets a monster. So he has decided he does not want to just grab a monster token or a pearl. So he's going to push that tracker down and he's going to keep going with his turn. So let's see what comes next. A crab of 1. Nobody wants it. Another monster. So at this point, maybe he's thinking, well, I've pushed it down 1 level. I could get 2 of these, get some points, or he could get a pearl and that. So he's going to do that. He's going to grab a pearl, and he's going to grab 1 of these. Normally this would be hidden from everybody, so it's a 2-pointer. So he's just going to keep that over there. So in this case, the monsters go to the discard, but now we have to move these into their appropriate columns here, or stacks, to make parts of the council. So we're back around to us, if we're playing as this character. So we could take a stack, but we know what's in the stack. They're both really low numbers. So, also, sorry. This does need to go back to 1 because he defeated the monster. So I'll come back over here. So it's a 3. All right, so that's a pretty decent number, and we have multiple reds out. So this guy down here is going to spend a pearl. Now remember, it's only 1 pearl because he is the first player. But he doesn't put that in the treasury. He gives that to the active player. So he's paying the active player, and he's grabbing this crab. You might be able to see his hand over here. All right, so we continue on. Now remember, he cannot buy anything else. And now a 4 came out. So he's kind of upset that he spent money on this 3 and a 4 came out. This person over here If he wants to buy that, it's going to cost him 2. But that's a pretty decent card, so he's going to go for it. So he's going to pay me 2 pearls. And he is going to take this. Put that in his hand. All right, so everyone has bought one except me, the active player. So I can pretty much just draw these until I get something that I might like. So there's another squid, which we could combo up with our 4 to get towards that 10. That's kind of a lame number. So here's a 3. So we're going to take this one. We're going to grab this, put it there. So we have a total of 7 now with the squids. And I'm really aiming for this guy here, for this 10. So we're going to take the squids and put them here. We're going to take the shellfish, put them there. All right, so now it's this guy's turn over here. So he's got a red 3. There's still not a ton of cards out in the council, so he's going to flip this over. Nobody wants this 1. Oh, there's a 5. So it's a pretty good number. This individual over here has no pearls, so he can't buy it. And we have 4, so we could purchase that if we wanted. But we can't use that towards the corruptor who we're trying to get, because you see that he only has 1 bubble. So he has to use exactly 1 race, which is why we're saving up for our squids here. We could grab that for future, but just for the sake of moving the game along, we're going to say we're skipping that, and the active player is actually going to grab that. So the shellfish goes there. All right, so we're on to our man over there with no pearls. Another monster. So he really needs him some cards. So he's going to just bring this down a level and keep going and hope that something comes out that nobody else wants. There's a 1. Not really looking forward to that. So 2. So nobody wants that, so he'll take it. He can at least use that with the hunter, combo that up, possibly. So we'll put that there. So the shellfish goes there, the monster goes there. So now it's my turn. So I can't look at these, but there's only 1 here. So I know that's probably not a 3. So I'll keep moving. Go back, do another card. 1. Nobody wants it. A seahorse at 3. You'll see there's none out there that actually need seahorses, but that's a pretty nice number that people could combo up with things. We'll keep going. 4. So we'll say he doesn't want to spend his 1 pearl on that. Other guy doesn't have any pearls, so we're going to actually take that one. That way I can buy a lord on my next turn and show you how it works. So put that there, put this here. All right, so on to this guy. So he was aiming, let's see, so 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so he's got 8. All right, so he can actually buy a lord as well. So he's going to buy this hunter. So I'll blow it up on the screen also. But what's happening here is it has 2 bubbles. One of them's red, so he has to have a crab. Boom, crab. The other bubble is clear, which means he can have any race. He has another race. And they have to add up to at least 8. And he's got 8. So he can buy this lord. I'm going to move these slightly just so you can see. We're going to put that there. Now what happens is you have to take all the allies you used, and you're going to take the lowest one, and you're going to stick him with the lord. And that's called affiliating an ally. The other cards you use just get discarded. Now I'll explain the point of this in just a second. So now we use his power, which has an arrow. So that means we use it right away. And it says steal a random monster token from the opponent of your choice. Well, there's only one opponent with a monster token. So sorry, dude over here, but we're taking this. So the crab, the red guys, they always have some sort of attack action that hurts other people. So we move that down. It does not have a key, so he doesn't get a key. We shoot over to this individual over here. So he was kind of looking for the hunter, and that didn't work out for him. So you'll see here that the oracle needs a purple and something else to equal 8. So he's got a purple and something else that equals 10. So what he's going to do is, there's one red one. He's going to go and just grab this other purple. So that is calling support from the council, which remember is an option instead of doing the explore the depths. So that actually worked out pretty well because that gives him the 8 he'll need on his next turn. All right, so back down here, 4, 8, 11. So we can purchase this because remember, if you look at the Corruptor, he has to only have squids, no other races, which we have all squids, and there has to be at least 10. We've got that squared away. So we're going to put that in our little stack here. We're going to take, remember, the lowest ally used and affiliate him there, and the other ones get discarded. So the Corruptor also has a power that we use right away. We'll go ahead and move that down. You can recruit a second lord from the court by paying 5 pearls instead of its normal cost. So I only have 4 pearls. That would have been awesome if I did my math right. And I had 5. So if I had 5, we could pay the 5 and we could pick up another lord. And so you would do that right away. If you don't have 5, then you're not allowed to do that. It would be a little bit of a waste. But that would be my turn. Again, there's no key. When we go to this, I'll do one more time around. So over here, let's say he wants to just grab this 3, keep it. All right. And then lastly over here, this individual wants to buy the Oracle because remember he has 2 races, purple or pink, and something else which he can fulfill. He needs at least 8, which that's what he has. And he'll take the lowest ally used, which is this 2, put it here. The other ones get discarded. So his power is not something that's triggered right away. It's ongoing. During your turn, you may discard 1 stack of cards from the council. So during my turn, I could take all 3 of these if I wanted to and discard them, take them out of the game. Because maybe I know that one of my opponents is trying to get squids and that could eventually get them a lord that they want. Now this individual or this lord does have a key, so I would get a key, place it here. Remember, once you get 3 keys, then you grab a location, and let's pretend like we're going to pretend down here. I think you might be able to see better down here, I'm not sure. And I'm going to act like I've got some affiliated things here. So we'll pretend for this sake that these guys had 3 keys. I would turn the keys back in. I would come over here. Yeah, I want the abyss. And I would place it like here over these bottom of the cards. And remember, that makes it so these lords are no longer free, which means their powers are no longer used. You're still going to score these points at the end of the game, but you are not going to use their powers. All right, so You would continue to go around and around and around. At this point, we can put more lords out because we triggered this. You're going to go until one player has 7 lords, or until this deck cannot refill the lords anymore. Once someone has 7, say it's us, we get 7 first, we'll finish our turn, and then each other player gets to go one more time, and then the game is over. And then you score your influence points. They come from a couple different areas. So one, they're going to come from the locations. So everyone's going to read what's on their location. For example, this is 2 points for each guild you have at least one lord from. So in this, I have 3 different guilds. So 3 times 2, I would score 6 from my location. The second thing you're going to score is your actual lords. So in this situation, I would have 16 points. The third thing you're going to score is your affiliated allies. So all of these people that you stuck up underneath here, you would pull out. You would stack them into their different races with the top number on top. And then you would just count up that top number. So say these were our highest numbers for the 3 races. It would be 7 points. 3, 3, and 1. And then last, anyone who has the monster tokens adds in theirs. So all 4 of those tally up, give you a total score. If anyone's tied, you go to whoever has the most pearls at the end. So that is a quick overview of the game, of the setup, of how you play, a couple turns. I was really happy with how this game turned out. Again, like I said in the intro, I've seen the cover over the years and never expected it to be a set collection game. I'm really glad that my friends told me about it and let me borrow it, because my wife and I have been really happy with it so far. So if you're interested in it, definitely check it out. You can get it from a lot of different places. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see any of the new content we're coming out with. Make sure to go to our website, boardgamebreakdown.com. We have a lot of written versions of this same type of videos, written versions of the video, I should say, where we do a little bit of more of a review of what we like and what we don't like about the game. The videos we try to save for the instructional portions. So go check that out there. Also, we're part of the Amazon affiliate program, so there's Amazon links that you can purchase any of the games you like from there, and it'll help us get a small commission to keep making content. We're also on Instagram. You can find us at board.game.breakdown. Check us out there, see what's upcoming, leave us a note, comment, let us know what you think. As always, thanks for watching. Look forward to putting out new videos soon. Thanks, guys.